I know we've only known each other for 4 weeks and 3 days, but to me, it seems like 9 weeks and 5 days.
Hello, everybody. I'm the J-Bot, Jay Dixon, and welcome to Let's Get Growing on the Urban Gardener channel. Thank you for anyone who is being here. As you've noticed with our thumbnails, that this is a casual week, an off week, in which Enoch is on vacation. And the usual thing is that we have a complete show shutdown, but we're experimenting here with either leaving just the chat text section open or in having an informal show. And I'm trying a few informal shows and seeing how that goes. So thanks for anyone who's checking in. We had a lot of great people check in yesterday, even though, again, it was another informal show. The shows are going to be on vacation for this weekend, next weekend, and the weekend after. So we're going to be in casual mode during that time. And me, the J-Bot, who is usually helping you out in the text section, is the chat section, is now here. And I'm just trying to do a few casual shows just to kind of see how people like that. And if not, we'll move back into just having text only if there's not much interest in having a casual show. So again, an informal show, just kind of a hangout, nothing really too organized and stuff about today. But I thought I would at least make this space available for those people who want it. I'm going to include on the YouTube side a link for anyone who might want to join us later on. So here is that link. And yes, so that's what's going on. Let's just see. I'm going to go back here. And so here is me referencing being here in Huron County, Midwestern Ontario, in the lee of Lake Huron. And as a possible loose topic later on, I thought we might want to discuss a little bit about winter gardening. And I prepared a few loose subject areas regarding that. But if not, I'm okay with that too. And let's see who else we have here. We have Bowtie. He stepped in an amazing way yesterday. Bowtie Life is David, and he basically decided that he would help us have some type of show yesterday, and he invited us into his garden, and we got to see a number of things in his garden yesterday, and I thank him so much for giving us that energy. And Muddy Puddles Farm is here as well. Hey, glad to see you. One of the things that we mentioned yesterday's live is about your upcoming first ever live, which I believe is on Monday night. And it's one of the things that I want to add to the information here, or if one of you could add it in the links here. I want to make sure people know about your upcoming live and can try to come and support you. And also, John Jude, hey, Jay Dixon, I just planted my garlic, and question, will my garlic go through 1 layer of brown paper to help control weeds next season? Ooh, yeah, we're already into the questions. I would be hesitant to do brown paper. The usual best thing, that my understanding, not a gardening expert, but my understanding is that garlic doesn't like being crowded. So like the weeds, having them removed super well in the bed before you even plant them is the ideal situation. So like to just get super serious about no other plants and no other weeds in there right at the beginning. And then what I do in the winter, because I have fairly severe winters here is we mulch with chopped leaves. I'm a little concerned about leaving too much mulch in place. I don't know how much of a problem that would be. I would have to do a little more research. I'm uncomfortable with it. I like the garlic to just have its own, once it starts growing, so to have its own space with no interference of anything. But I don't mind anyone else clarifying and saying they feel differently or experience differently. I also know other people have done things like take garlic and just literally fit it in wherever they can in their garden. And sometimes it's a lot closer than is recommended to other plants, and they've been fine. Okay. I haven't experienced that, so I can't tell you how well that works, but I'm a little nervous about it trying to go through brown paper or too much of any kind of mulch. I just do the excessive cleaning out of the garden bed so that nothing is interfering with the garlic. But I'm willing to hear from anyone else, their ideas about that. So if anyone can give advice for John about garlic and whether a layer of brown paper for controlling weeds is going to be a solution or a problem, love to hear your advice. And yeah, so that's who we've got so far. And potentially we're going to get other people in a little bit later. Again, these are informal shows. Nothing is scheduled. So it's basically a more casual hangout. But I did want to point out a few things that have been going on in the show previously before Enoch went on vacation. He had the Let's Get Growing 2026 review, and in that he was introducing some of you to the new features and things that would be going on with the show. So you got to meet Natalie and hear that she's going to be on a new section that I will mention a little bit later. And you got to hear that the garden quest trivia thing will be revived, and there's even more to come in 2026. We also did a review of the 2025 and met some of the people who are part of our community and have been contributors to the show, and I am super glad about that. And we also had Gardener Scott, and we had a community show. And one of the things that's the biggest feature for you to know about is that in the new year, we are having an additional whole series of shows. So that's going to be with Natalie and Enoch. It's going to be on Monday nights. So that's a very exciting thing for us because it's going to be an additional 33% of shows. We're gaining a whole other night. And the hope with that is that it's going to be a slightly different vibe and that we can get people who are maybe not available for the weekends. We've had feedback from a number of people that Enoch's tried to book and said that that's, that the evenings, the weekends do not work as well and evenings would. So we're trying that out with a slightly different vibe, and you will get more updates when that first show happens. I'm pretty sure it's January 19th, but I can be corrected on that. And part of what else is new is that Brandy from the Suburban Gardenista is going to be our new garden trivia host for the weekend. So we are really excited about her joining. And there is more additional stuff going to be coming up. So I am super glad to see some of you here. And I'm just going to catch up with some of you in a moment. Pardon my Enoch is fantastic at operating all this. I'm a little bit fumbly because I am not into a media creator. I do not create content, so I am in the background just trying to make things as nice as I can, and this allows you to have something happening in the show. And I do have someone on the backstage that I will catch up with in a minute. I'm just going to see if anyone is giving advice regarding John's issue. John is clarifying, I normally mulch with 20% grass clippings and mulching with falls leaves. Thank you. That's his normal thing. Great. And Muddy Puddles Farm is giving some advice saying, if brown paper is the only option, poke holes in it to plant through. I have used shredded leaves this year. Previously, I have used old straw clippings or composted manure. Yep. What I do for mine is I use, because leaves are so abundant where I am, I do a thick layer of chopped leaves, fairly thick because our winters are fairly severe. And then I just pull some of that back when I feel like it's about the time for the green growth to start in the spring. And I leave very little mulch in place just in case of a cold spring, and then move it right out of the way when growth is happening. That's been my habit. So we'll see how things go. And Muddy Puddles, exciting news. Maybe I will stay up for the first show. Yeah, thanks for letting us know that you find the exciting news about the Monday show happening. That you find that to be exciting news. We're definitely excited. So I have a casual idea of some discussion around winter gardening, but I do have someone on the backstage that could potentially be willing to step up. Is this a good time now? Yep. Okay, fantastic. So again, I just want to repeat that this is a community organization. Gradually, the show is becoming more and more community-based with more and more contributors, and we are super glad that you show up either in the audience or choose to be on stage with us, because Enoch is trying to gradually move this show towards becoming more community-based, and I am super glad to have anyone that's willing to come and contribute as a gardener on our show. So I'm going to welcome to the stage Shawnee Grows. Hey, Shawnee.
Hi.
Hi.
So I'm in the indoor garden right now.
Wow.
Yeah, I might have to turn this so you can see. Should we try that?
And just a little more up. Yep.
So what I'm trying to do is take my 6 cells that have outgrown, and I'm trying to get them put in like a 3x3, or I have these 2x2s. So I have my soil, which is that Pro Mix that I got.
Yep.
That mycorrhizal one, and then I put worm castings in it. And then I'm just taking them out. And they're pretty, like, the root structure.
Wow, they are so ready. Yes.
Right. I could have done it a week ago, probably.
Well, it was more Christmassy then, so you had a lot of baking and kid wrangling to do.
So yeah, I've already got the soil moist, and so it's super easy to just like push them in.
New home. Yep.
To the next home. And I found my seed packets.
Okay.
This is what we planted, but then I ripped the top off.
Yeah.
Where the name is.
Oh yes.
So.
Hands up, who hasn't accidentally ripped some of the instructions and stuff off your seed packets? It's just, yeah.
That's how it goes. So we got that part done.
Great. You're weeks ahead of me in having, that going on. So you're basically creating a few indoor crops so you can eat them throughout the winter?
We're going to try that. Yep. We're going to try and upgrow this lettuce till it's a little bigger. And then this is some kind of Tatsoi green, and then I have over here the dill. I feel like I could start picking and putting in recipes, right?
Yeah.
And then I should start a second tray of the 5x5 of my dill. And we did try doing this with lettuce, but you know, this looks a bit tight.
Yeah, I think they don't like condo living. I think they want to have their own little homes.
I don't know how long they're gonna I wanted them to grow up above this ledge, right?
I suspect, but don't know. Again, no plant expert. I have a feeling that they're just a little too crowded to want to do much yet. But yeah. Oh wow, what's that?
This is cilantro.
Oh, I can
you
almost
know.
smell it from here.
Yeah,
Just yeah, scruff the leaves a little bit for us.
right. This is a
Oh,
chard mix, apple blossom, I think it's called, from Botanical.
okay.
Now, I haven't fed anything a liquid fertilizer. I've only done the worm castings. And I found a surprise today in this experiment. So this is garlic, and
Yeah,
I
we
had a lettuce
mentioned.
in there. And
Yeah,
you see that leaf?
I'm pretty sure that looks a little bit like tomato.
There's a tomato in there. I don't know. Yeah.
I think we had some kind of discussion somewhere, and I can't remember where, about the idea of can you plant garlic indoors? And I introduced to you the idea of green garlic, how it's like treated a little bit like green onion. And then I think I gave you some links to uses for it, which is actually a startling amount. Like you can do a lot with green garlic.
So this tip right here, we did cut off and put on some eggs yesterday.
Okay.
And I would like to take each one out and put in their own container. But I'm going to be honest, I think all my containers that I have left are out at the garden property, and we're in a blizzard warning right now.
Yes. We are actually between storms here. I'm kind of hopscotching around what I'm able to do and prep I need to do regarding all of the storms that are going on. So,
I wondered about that. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, wow.
Well, this is spinach, but I guess there's dill in it too or something.
Hmm.
And I'm not a spinach person, but I had some seed that was free with a green stalk.
And Craft Organics, hey. So, wow, you are weeks ahead of me. I really was hoping to do some of those things, but oh, I'm getting old. I'm getting lazy, and I had a lot of preparation due to get Christmas presents for the staff and volunteers here, and I was outside shoveling as cartoon characters, and that exhausted me. Like I didn't have anything else left in me. Like, yeah.
Right, like be horizontal for a little bit with your feet up kind of a thing.
Yes. Well, yes. Honestly, there's been much resting going on in my life. Yes.
Yeah.
So, wow, that's good. And didn't you do some sprouts as well a few weeks ago?
I have done sprouts this year. I've only done radish. In the
Okay.
past, I have done mung bean, which are surprisingly super delicious. That's why you hear about them everywhere.
Okay.
I'm able to take a mason jar with a tablespoon of seeds and have a lid on it where it's a strainer. And so then I'm rinsing 2 to 3 times a day after you've done the first day of the pre-soak. And then once the seeds have the leaves emerging, you can rinse them, wash them, eat them, store them in the fridge for up to 3 days. I really like sprouts or microgreens on top of a soup at the end, and they go well in any kind of sandwich or wrap or salad, of course, or on your eggs. And it's just a really good way to get extra nutrition.
So, do you use specialty seeds for that, or do you just use regular grow in the garden type seeds?
I had used leftover radish seeds that were from a sale, and they were just in a little clear package that were to be intended to plant to grow out a radish. I
Okay.
do love ordering from True Leaf Seeds because they sell big packs of bulk seed because it is the same seed
Yes.
as what we use to grow a mature plant.
There's the odd company that has specific seeds that can be treated, and that can be a little bit of a concern, but it's very, 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 very few seeds that we normally deal with, but it's something to have in the back of your mind. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Good. I actually used to do sprouting as well. And again, that's another hobby that's kind of gone by the wayside. And like Shawnee was saying, it can be as simple as just using a mason jar and a way to kind of strain it off. And I believe you rinse it 2 or 3 times a day.
I like to rinse it more than less because there's a risk of a bacteria overgrowth in them. And I need to mention, I can't use my tap water. It has a chlorine in it, and I have to use a distilled or filtered water to do all the rinsing. Now, actually, when you do the rinse, you should keep that water and water a plant with it because it's filled with nutrients, and we don't want to put that down the drain. There is a little warning out there that I've talked about before where like a certain age of children or certain elderly with immune compromised systems aren't supposed to eat sprouts or microgreens because they could get sick. And I have seen cases where this has happened. I always go with more rinsing than less, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Yes. When I was moving here, I had to make a lot of hasty decisions. This was years ago, but I had to make many, many hasty decisions. And the short version is I had to remove and eliminate my possessions down to about 1/3, 1/4 to 1/3 of what I used to have. And I had to do it quick. And I had a layered sprouter that was actually like made for that purpose. And unfortunately, that was one of the choices that I made to not keep that. But, you can just use even just a glass or a jar or, that kind of thing.
If you have an old pickle jar, an old spaghetti sauce jar, the seed doesn't care. The seed is not going to go, oh, I am not sprouting in this jar.
They don't have pretensions of like, oh, I only sprout in the very best households.
I'm going to hold it in.
Yes. Here's a comment about sprouts. Dusty Flat saying sprouts are the same. Bacteria can form. Remember to rinse. Yes. At least a few times a day. And here's another comment from Craft Organics. 5-gallon bucket topsy-turvy is great for above head porch for tomatoes. Just a couple of feet walk from the kitchen. Oh, have you done that? Because I have seen pictures of it, but I've not really seen it working in real life. Have you ever used it, Shawnee?
I don't have a place to hang a basket to try and grow the tomato out and down.
Okay. Yeah.
Which could be a simple fix, but I just never did it.
Yeah, I don't have a ready-made easy solution because I have a tiny front porch. I live in a tiny home, everybody. So everything is compromises, but hey, it's my own space, so that's a good thing. And tiny front porch where that would be awkward and I'd have to drill in and establish stuff. The back porch, which has many points, is entirely, how do I explain, north and east facing, meaning it would get virtually no sun. It would get the early morning peak of sun and nothing else. So the nice thing about that is, unfortunately, not good for growing, but the nice thing about it is on a hot day, I can go sit back there and it is much cooler than the ambient air. Like, it is a beautifully restful, cool place to sit, which I've never had before in any of my homes. So there's that advantage, but not great for gardening. So yeah.
I'm going to get these back under the lights that I have next to me here. Sure. And so I'm going to go away. I might come back. We'll see what happens.
Okay, super. Well, you have the link and you can decide if you want to come back. I'll look for you backstage. But thanks for popping in and showing us your plants.
You're very welcome.
Seeing plants in winter always cheers me up. Like, I just don't know what, the gardener mindset of me, just love them. So thanks so much for coming on. Good. See you later. Bye. Okay, so thanks for Shawnee for sharing that. That was a pop-in surprise, and I'm super glad for that. And here's a comment about sprouts. My sister used to work at a local sprout business, and the state required using low bleach solutions. Yes, but you want to be very careful about what those numbers are. And I would want to do more research before I added bleach to a food product that is so compact and that we're eating raw. I'm not saying it's a wrong thing. I'm saying I'm cautious about some aspects of how I grow things. And if I'm going to take it in, and I try to find 3 or 4 reputable sources. And then when I feel like I've got a handle on the information, away I go. And Craft Organic says, I have pics. Wow, that's great. Right now in this show, I don't have an easy way to handle that. But we can come up with a way on, say, next weekend that I could show your pictures if you want to make them available to me. So let me know in the comments if you want to do that. It's just that it takes some processing time that I can't really do while I'm running a show, but I would love to do it another time. And she's also mentioning clothesline works great too. Yeah, there's a few different options available. And Dusty Flats saying thanks to Shawnee for being on here. Hooray. And Craft Organics, thank you for being there. Muddy Puddles Farm, thanks. Great. And Shawnee saying, plants are in their warm spot now. Yeah. It's one of the nice things that happened to me on the kind of like different deals and stuff that show up is I was able to get some more plant lights. So I have another range and amount of plant lights. I'm extremely disorganized about my indoor plant growing. The main things that I usually focus on is plant starts to go into the garden. But Shawnee's showing us like about the possibility of growing greens indoors and being able to consume some of the stuff during the winter, which sounds great to me because I don't know what it's like for each of you, but the prices of produce and stuff has gone absolutely crazy for us. I've seen charts and graphs that show the numbers, but as a bargain hunter person who's low income, most of the costs of just focusing on things that she was showing, like bok choy and lettuce and things like that, easily doubled in the last 5 years. Easily doubled, probably more than that. The sprout business had to use bleach to pass inspection. Commercial business, I personally would not do it. Yeah, I would be really, really cautious about doing it. Possibly if I had a problem in the container that I was using and needed to sanitize it really well, I would look up what would be the right amount of bleach solution to reduce the problem. And then once the problem was thoroughly cleaned and sanitized, possibly using a bleach solution or something else that's more natural, then I would be rinsing and soaking that unbelievably because it makes me a little uncomfortable. And I've worked in commercial kitchens and stuff like that. And because of food regulations and stuff like that, there is a need to do those processes, but makes me a little uncomfortable. Yeah. So here's a seed tip. John Jude, my seed tip. I asked the chef at my favorite Chinese restaurant about his peppers in our favorite dish, and he gifted me some seeds from the kitchen. Wow. How nice. How generous. Great. And Craft Organics, you have an email to forward. I'm going to put it here in the links. But when I put it here, I'm going to put it on the YouTube side so that I appear as myself. Because when I'm broadcasting, I'm actually in Enoch's backstage. So I would be showing up as Enoch. So this is me. And just one moment here. Okay, so this is my personal email. And my suggestion would be to send that, and then we can possibly, feature those pictures or have a discussion around those pictures next weekend. By the way, folks, the current plan is that there is no formal show, and Enoch has essentially given me the keys to the backstage and kind of a loose permission to do what I feel is right. But I am not doing formal shows in the traditional sense. And you can always count on the idea that the chat text version was open, but since I now know how to do this part, I am doing an informal, casual get together, and maybe some of you can give your feedback about how you feel about that. And I'm just going to go with this question. Dusty Flats, are you south of the Twin Cities? Did you get your emergency list out? Yes. I mentioned briefly earlier, we are right now where I am, which is in Midwestern Ontario in Canada. We are between a bunch of storms. So we have to keep scheduling getting our emergency arrangements at home and being able to go out to get any provisions or Christmas shopping or bargain shopping or whatever we want to do between events. So for example, I was going to go out shopping this morning and we got an ice storm. So it was too dangerous to go out, but now things are warming up and melting enough that during this show I could have shopped and probably going to go right after the show. But after the show, we are going to get very high winds and mixed precipitation of ice, snow, ice pellets, and enough accumulations of possibly 30 to 50 centimeters, which some of you might be able to calculate, but I believe is about 12 inches or more. And part of the problem with the 12 inches of snow that we may get here is that I live in the lee of Lake Huron, and the westerly winds that come off Lake Huron, because the lake is huge and not frozen yet, the precipitation that comes off that lake, the wetness off the lake, comes and lands on top of us. So we get streamers of snow off the lake and we get precipitation, and it looks like we're going to be getting the full assortment pack, kind of like in a cookie mix or candy mix of like, oh, these different lovely chocolate assortments. Well, we're getting the assortment of weather. So we have to kind of prepare a bit. I can actually hear road preparations happening right now for that. And there's going to be, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but there's road preparations going on. And then sensible people who don't like to get stuck out start getting a few things ready in their home. So let's see. Plants and groundhogs will be back in the spring. Yes, yes. And Shawnee is saying, our store was out of carrots, lettuce, grapes, and grapefruit. Ooh, wow. Okay, so less options. And we are in the blizzard warning. Yes, we have completed our storm ready checklist. Now, you are better prepared than I am. Yet again, one more category where you're better prepared than me. My storm checklist is not an actual good checklist. It's just kind of things that I do, and I should be doing that, but I don't. And so Crafts Organics is saying vinegar is great if you're trying to stay away from bleach from crevice produce. Yes. I've worn a number of different hats in terms of like careers and jobs that I've had over the decades. And one of them, I was a cleaner, but I have environmental sensitivities. So the vast majority of most traditional industrial type cleaning solutions are not great for me, for my health. So one of the things I did when I was hired was I actually looked at what alternatives are available that are more ecological or more healthy for both me and the people where I'm cleaning. And but they have to be strong enough to meet certain standards for public health, because I was cleaning public buildings, and there was alternatives. It was a bit of a search to find those, but because of public health regulations, I had to, clean and sanitize to certain levels, and I had to look into those things, or I chose to look into those things. So the advantage to that was I used unscented products. So the 30% or so of our population that's allergic to a lot of scents did not have to deal with scented cleaning products in those public buildings whatsoever. And we got some feedback that people were quite relieved by that. And a number of things. I did it for the environment. I did it for myself. I did it for everyone else. And there is a time penalty to what it took for me to look that up. And there is a little bit more of a cost as well. But vinegar is one of the low-cost solutions that can work for many cleaning options. And for those of you that didn't notice it in the chat, this is my actual email. And here's Dusty Flat saying, I have a jar sprouter, but I like the round layered one. rinse those twice a day, and about 4 days rice sprouts, no globs of sprouts. Yes, the one that I had was it was layers of plastic, approximately 4 of them, with vents, drain plugs in each of them, and they layered up, and it had grid inside so that it lifted some of the sprouts out of the dampness, and then they drained well, and the bottom layer basically contained what drained down. And like Shawnee was saying, what drains down at the bottom is super nutritious. So then you dump that into your house plants if it's not going to cause a problem for that specific plant. Fantastically nutritious. And here is Rick. Hey, Rick, glad to see you here. Just waiting at your doctor's. Hopefully just a checkup or good news, but you don't have to reveal anything private to us. But glad that you are here. And John Jude saying, about my Chinese restaurant, I've since gifted them several bags of my veggies for his needs, and they love fresh veggies like us. Ah, nice. Yeah. I love that when informal stuff starts happening within communities of, helping each other and lifting each other and gifting each other produce and plants. I definitely like that kind of thing. I do most of my giving is either individual or small scale stuff, because that's where I feel like I can make the most impact. Yeah. And here's Rick giving me a little feedback. I'm okay with the chats with you, Jay. Yeah. I could have done a much more formal arranged show, but I'll be honest with you, I'm on a little bit of vacation mode as well. So I figured a casual hangout was acceptable. And for any of you that have not noticed, earlier in the chat, I put in a link. And if any of you want to choose to join me backstage, it's open. It's not a formal community show. It's not a formal show at all. But if you choose and want to join us and maybe just discuss what's on your thoughts lately, especially if it's relating to gardening, but just your thoughts in general, we can do that. And here is Dusty Flats saying, your grocer was out of those foods. Yes, small town living. I can't specifically speak to Shawnee's situation, but I think she also lives in small towns. I live in a little village in a rural area, and the nearest supermarket is in a village where it is a population between about 600 in the winter and about 2,000 in the summer. So yes, we run out of produce at times. And then we have a bigger town where the prices are better and the selection is better. So, and there's Rick moving away. And I do see that we have another guest backstage, and in a couple minutes, I will try and check in with that other potential guest that wants to pop in. Hooray. We have Rick just saying Happy New Year to each of us. Fantastic. And here Shawnee responding, say, yeah, Aldi was out. Yes. Yes. See, sometimes what happens, at least in the small town areas near us, is there's less deliveries of produce over the winter. Like at Christmas, they kind of like really max out as much as possible. And then it kind of dwindles after that about how much they supply, at least in the small villages for us. And here is Rob. Yay. Hey, Rob, I see you today. Now, I'm not looking on the YouTube side right now, but I definitely see you here on StreamYard side, and glad to have you. And this is a question for Rick, who unfortunately just left, but it's Sunday in Australia. I hope Rick is okay. Rick and I and a few other people here have some health challenges, so he has to keep regularly checking on those kinds of things. And yes, he is from the future. Yes. Let's see. And this is a quick thing that we'll deal with shortly. Bowtie, hey, hello. This is from Shawnee. Did you see my indoor garden show and tell in the show? Yes. And this is Rob double checking, because sometimes he's not very visible on the YouTube side on the lives for reasons we do not understand. And here is Eddie. Hi, Eddie. Let's just see who else. And here's a question for Rob. Rob, is anything growing in your attic at the moment? And we'll see what comes back to that. And I know I am behind. I am going to try to catch up, being chatty. Here is Shawnee saying, and here's another thing about our town. A lot of snowbirds, meaning human snowbirds, have left and gone to Arizona and Florida, so there's less people buying. Same thing in our nearest little village. I live on the edge of a tourist region, and that little town grows by at least triple in the summer, and they treat them so well because they're all people with money and spendy tourists. But in the winter, much more conservative spending habits and a lot less people. And here's Rob checking. Yes, Rob, I see you on the StreamYard side. I am not looking on the YouTube side, so I don't know. But I definitely see you on the StreamYard side. And let's see. Here is Rob letting us know. Onions. Yes, onions. Great. Okay, so I think I've caught up with everybody now. And wonderfully, we have a person. Oh, and Bowtie's letting us know that he sees Rob on the YouTube side. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to pop in and show you our guests. Our guest today popping in is Graybeard, and I wonder what he has to say to us.
Well, hey,
Hey,
it's not great. I guess it is Graybeard, isn't it? We are.
Well, the title says Graybeard on my side.
I know. I saw it was after that, and I was like, I fix that. And it's like, oops. We are actually in Mrs. Bowtie's office at her job, and I was going to show you. We are actually delivering a castle.
What?
And yes, it's a Lego castle. Mrs. Bowtie is a brickhead. Something that most of you don't know. But this is, whose castle is this?
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast castle. How many pieces is it, Ms. Bowtie?
Almost 3,000.
Almost 3,000 pieces. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you great. There was a little bit of breaking up early on, but you're good now.
Okay. And there is the night bus from Harry Potter that actually rolls.
Is
And
that
there's
Lego
even
too?
a little. Say it again?
Was that Lego too? The night bus.
Yes. Yeah, it's all Lego.
Wow.
So, yeah, and this is her office. She has kind of an eclectic office. Can you see what's up on her wall?
4 to 5 goats.
Yeah, 4 goats. This is one of her favorite pictures. We actually bought that at Hobby Lobby years ago, and we follow a lot of goats, by the way. If anybody loves goats, we love Simon Says does live stream of their goats. We're actually taking down her fall garland. She had fall garland all the way around her office, like you can see up there. And then I was going to show you. Oh, wait.
Show me.
I've got to show you.
Comfortable with. Yep.
I was going to, and this is for the gardeners out there. Okay. Ready, gardeners? I don't know if we have any gardeners in the crowd here.
1 or 2.
1 or 2. Okay. Well, this is her picture of Lego flowers.
Those are not. Wow.
These are Legos.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, this is one of her favorite ones. She has a lot of fall colors in here. You can see the garland up there, and
I just put down the pumpkin patch.
oh yeah, there was a pumpkin patch here. This is actually, are these the covers?
Well, no, they're actually dividers.
They're dividers for Angie Bellamere.
She was the one who designed your shirt at Halloween.
Yeah, if you remember my shirt at Halloween, the one with Audrey too, she designed that. And Jennifer is a big fan of her. She's a big YouTuber. What is the name of her company? Every time
The Daily Grind.
The Daily Grind is their company. They do planners and organizational stuff, plus a whole lot of decorative stuff. And
No.
yeah. So anyway, I'm kind of getting to the big point here, but I do want to show you another little Lego set here. This is another Gardener's Lego set. And yes,
Oh,
that's Legos.
yes. I've seen the discount version, you know what I mean? Like the no-name
Y-
version.
yeah.
Those flowers that are much more basic.
So she has a lot of, we just got this in Hawaii, by the way. This is really cool. You can actually put it together however you want to put it together. Characters fit in this surfboard across the bottom. That's kind of a fun thing that we got in Hawaii. It's a local artist there that makes these, but above the 7 dwarfs, we have another undersea gardening kind of thing.
That's Lego too?
This is Lego as well. And little jellyfish, and it's a coral reef. It's not very big. There's my hand. But I'm working up to the big thing here. Is there anything else that needs to go before that?
No, that's it.
That's it. Okay, so then we get to the feature of Mrs. Bowtie's office. And this is
My T-Rex.
the T-Rex that I transported. There's actually a video on my channel. This thing is 3 feet long, and it was many thousands of pieces.
That's Lego.
All Lego.
Because I'm also a dinosaur.
Yeah, as she says, she's also a huge dinosaur enthusiast, which is why we went to Kualoa Ranch in Hawaii. So anyway, I cannot see chat, so
If you're into investments, invest in Lego.
yeah. You know, there is a set. What was the set that we just heard about that's selling?
Oh, the Lord of the Rings one.
It's one of the Lord of the Rings sets that sold for, a few $100s, and it's like $4,000 or something like that.
Oh, no.
No, wasn't it? Oh,
No, the new one coming out.
no, the one that discontinued.
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay. Well, anyway,
So
There was one that
is a
was
few
different.
comments about the Lego. I'm just randomly grabbing them here as best as I can. Dusty Flats is saying, I just read a comment somewhere that they bought Legos, but none were inside. What? Not inside? Wow.
inside our house. Well, now we're doing a remodel, so there's a lot going on at our house, and
I have to bring them here.
yeah, she has to bring them here for now. They will eventually be inside,
Okay.
if that's what she's talking about. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
we're actually planning a lot of shelves that's going in that great room, and it's going to be changing from travel to Lego.
So Mighty Puddle says, my husband is also a brickhead. There are known as AFOLs here, adult fans of Lego.
Apples.
AFOLs,
Okay,
AFOLOS.
Adult fans of Lego, of course.
that works.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called. We've never been to one of the brick fests
Yes.
or anything. Yeah,
Yes.
we'll be there.
That's in the UK, and you were there, a
Well,
while
no.
ago.
Oh yeah. I got my London hat on right now.
And so Jim, who is Rob's allotment,
Rob.
said, never
Yeah.
had a Lego set in my life.
Well, we have all the Legos, or almost all the Legos our boys grew up with. We have the Legos that I grew up with. And so we have enough Legos for probably a football field of kids to have something to build.
Or adult fans of Lego.
That's right. That's right.
Dusty Flats, me neither, Rob. More of a Lincoln log type. In my time, Meccano was the thing. And Meccano,
Oh, yeah.
which was metal pieces that were for kids. So like little screws and pieces and things. So basically it was a type of construction.
Right. I remember those. I
Yeah.
didn't have any, but I'm familiar with them.
Yeah. So, and Jim, who is Rob's Lotman, said the same thing. I had Meccano sets. And here's a lovely compliment. Craft Organics, awesome Lego project. I think talking about, I'm not sure which one. We've shown several, but I'm guessing you're talking about the biggest one. But yeah. And my favorite dinosaur is a Velociraptor. So that was the one who complimented you. So I'm guessing that's what that's about.
Yeah, that's actually the T-Rex.
Yeah. And here's Dusty Flat saying, I think many of the Lego pieces are pre-formed. Oh, no. As my understanding, and we've got a couple people who know a little bit more than I do about it, but the joy of it is that it's itsy-bitsy little pieces, whereas some are specialty, but the joy is that you are building it yourself right from scratch, right?
It is little. That's two pieces right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's that attention to detail, precision mindset that I think, is part of, how your wife may think about things in her life. And, I'm not going to discuss what's her profession, but the thing is that kind of attention to detail type person, it's a drive, it's a focus, so.
She's an accountant.
Yeah. So, and the gift that keeps getting clones. Yes. I'm focusing right now on the Lego discussion because we have, your wife who knows quite a bit about it available. So let's just see what people have to say. They have Lego construction for houses now.
Yep.
Okay.
This will actually turn around, go in the other way, so you can turn the whole model around and display it from the front side with the doors open.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
It's pretty amazing.
So if anyone has any more questions or comments about Lego, I just thought, because that's kind of the theme right now, I would try and answer those. I have noticed the other questions and I will go back to those, but for right now, I'm, focusing on those. But anyway, what a fantastic hobby. I think we've lost David.
What happened?
I
there
don't
we are.
know. I'm trying to have you back, but I don't see you right now.
I'm coming. Can you see me now?
Nope. I hear you, but I don't see you.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to try another little bit, but you are auditorily here. Hello? Oh, there you are.
I can see. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Anyway, well, I just wanted to check in. Tell everybody. I wanted to tell Rob to get out of his attic and hop online here.
Yes. So, thanks for giving us a tour of your wife's office. She has, I think, just about the most fun office I've ever seen. I really like it.
There's one more thing.
Okay, sure.
I forgot about this.
Right.
It's on a down cycle, but it's actually quite beautiful. This is her peace lily. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's in its I'm not showing off today phase. Right?
Yeah. The flower has just gone through its cycle.
Yep.
So, but there's generally more coming out down there. I don't see any flowers coming out yet, but it's go ahead.
I've been off for 5 days. It probably needs water.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
Great.
Oh, well, now what's this? You have
Oh, I have Epcot, and then we picked that up. It's white.
these little
Christmas tree.
fabric Christmas trees.
Yes.
That kind of. Oh, so she does have another T-Rex with an egg. That's her pin holder.
Wow. So there was someone, I think it was Muddy Puddles, saying she likes the velociraptors, but I think she just went out to go walk her dogs who needed
Ah,
some attention for a few minutes. So she's going to have to watch that part again.
yeah. Anyway, yeah, she has a fun office, I'll admit.
Yes. Great. Well, I can sort of see that you're both fun-loving types, both of you. Yeah.
She is. I'm always very serious. Just take a look at my channel.
Yes. And speaking of look at my channel, I do apologize. I get a bit distracted yesterday and failed to thoroughly thank you and to promote your channel for what you did for us yesterday. For those of us here who did not see yesterday's show, basically Dave stepped up and basically became our show yesterday. So I will provide links again a little bit later, but David's channel is Bowtie Life in the Garden, and make sure you go there. He has a lot of fun content of different types, and he is a good supporter of this channel, and I thank him for popping in today and for basically being our show yesterday.
Well, Miss cousin Bowtie Mark had a lot of fun too. He said thanks for having him on. So that was a good time. That was a real good time.
Yes, it was sort of spontaneous to me. You slightly planned, and I wasn't communicating well, so I didn't know there was this potential for you helping with the show. So it was last minute in my mind. So I was reacting in the moment.
It was.
Welcome to my world.
Did you hear her?
I couldn't quite hear it.
She said, "Welcome to my world." Yeah,
Oh, yes.
I pretty much live last minute.
I like a mix. I like a certain amount planned and organized and a certain amount spontaneous. I like a mix in my life.
I think she could probably handle that a lot better. She's stuck with all this. It's not gonna work. She's stuck with all this.
Yeah. So I do see other topics and stuff going on.
Yep.
I am going to get back to some of those. So if people feel like they've been ignored, it's not an ignore. It's just that we're focusing right now because we have Dave in front of us and the Legos in front of us and the fantastic flowers, real and, well, I guess the Lego ones are real too. They're just real in a different sense.
Yeah, you go on with other people. I'll talk at you later.
Yeah, but thanks for being here and for helping us so much yesterday. Check out Bowtie Dave's channel, Bowtie Life in the Garden.
Bye.
So thanks to Dave for stepping in like that. I really appreciate that. For some of you who may still want to be a little pop-in guest, I am open to chat on any topic as long as it's nothing that's going to make YouTube have kittens. Because YouTube has a few rules, so we're not going to have, topics that would get them upset. But because we're in kind of casual time, we are not quite as strict as it being gardening or related. I'm just going to slide way back into the chat. Some of you gave fantastic comments. I was just kind of focusing on what was going on with Dave right then. And this is one of the comments is Muddy Puddles, your live stream is coming up. Are you ready for it? So Muddy Puddles Farm, who may be back from the dog walking, we'll see, but we will make sure we get the correct information a bit later. I believe Muddy Puddles Farm is having their first ever live stream on their channel on Monday night, and like as in tomorrow night. And if you go to their channel, I'm sure there's some kind of promotion there, but I'm just letting you guys know that that is a thing to check out. We really strongly believe in trying to build community through gardening, and I am super happy to have any of you here and to try and big up and promote your shows and your channels and your activities. So I'm glad that Shawnee mentioned that. And just a clarification here that Rob is Jim here, because Rob's allotment channel for some reason isn't quite showing up correctly on the YouTube side. So he is Jim here sometimes. And Rob's allotment and attic gardening is here today. And onions, He's sowing onions in his attic today, but I will be sowing peppers and chilies soon. Good. And Bow Tie is letting Shawnee know, Shawnee, I found your snowbirds. She was saying people have left her village and showed up in Florida. And here's a discussion that's a bit on the serious side, and but that's the reality for different people here. I certainly have multiple disabilities and different illnesses and stuff that come up. And since these are being mentioned publicly, I'll just say Eddie Lyles has an infection in his leg, so he's resting. It's actually quite a serious and painful condition. So our thoughts are with you about, that and recovering from that. And here's John talking about, I've enjoyed leeks in my garden for 2 seasons, and like onions, they like an early start. Yes, except I've bought leek starts and put them in 3 or 4 times, and they just aren't very successful here. It seems there's things I need to learn to be more successful with them. But they don't develop into full leeks here. And it may be that we don't have a long enough growing season for the outdoor portion. I don't know, but I'm going to have to, I've got lessons to learn about leeks. Oh, and this is to Bow Tie, just in case you are still around, Dusty Flats. Ooh, birthday Eve, Bow Tie. And Bow Tie showed an amazing amount of restraint in not suggesting for people to send him birthday gifts. Oh, yes, don't send me birthday gifts was his gesture yesterday. One hand saying no and the other saying, yes, do it. But I think it would be really sweet and nice for people to send at least comments to his channel and send him birthday wishes for tomorrow. That would be really nice. And Craft Organics is letting me know that they just sent those pictures to me in an email. So that's not going to be for today, but I will see if I can process them and have them on the show for next weekend. I don't have the skills to do both things at once. And Bow Tie, another message for you. There is a person named Robin Greenfield. Yeah, he's actually fairly famous in the gardening world, coming to Florida. Would you like to meet him? He will be more in Central Florida. So that would be a little bit of traveling for David. But I don't know if that's a half cheeky comment or a real comment. But anyway, it's happening. And this is for Rob's allotment and his attic gardening. Shawnee saying, have you decided the final contestants for what you're starting? Yeah, small space. You got to make all kinds of tough decisions about what's going to go. Muddy Puddles said, I'm as ready as I can be. I was a bit worried about the technical bit. I was worried I would be all alone. Rob, amongst others, have shouted out. Very kind people said they will join. So that's about Muddy Puddles having the first ever live. And I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow night, but do check with their channel. Question. Eddie, this is for you. If you don't want to answer, I get it. Does a nurse come and help drain or wrap your infection, or you have to go in? I've personally experienced that it depends on the illness and what is available to you about whether they have home nursing care or not. I can't speak for his situation, but sometimes it's dependent on what's available for free, what's available for pay, what kind of home nursing care there is. We have a whole range of different things here because we have universal health care here in Canada, and it's a strained system, meaning financially not getting enough money, but they do their best to provide for that. And the other thing that we have here, that we have like an outpatient clinic where you, instead of going to your own doctors or going to hospital, there's a clinic where they have nurses who do that kind of specialty wound care. So stuff that isn't life and death, but is important to have a medical professional look at and check. And I personally had to deal with that when I had a serious condition. And this is Craft Organics. I have to take 20 clones tomorrow. Yay. Not quite sure what that's about, but I think you mean clone plants. Let's see. Leeks are neat. Yes. Let's see. And this is regarding Muddy Puddle's first ever live. It will be a grand first opening with lesson learns, of course. If people understand that you're a beginner and trying to figure things out in that, they can be quite forgiving. So just kind of put that part up front, and the ums and the ahs and the hesitation and the, oh, I'm not sure what to click here. My best advice to you would be, if I'm using Enix StreamYard, is if you can, go a few practice rounds having your show set up, not set to go live, but set up, and just practice going, okay, have a little sheet or something nearby and go, I click this and then I click that, and actually do it and get a little bit of that muscle memory of how do you do it. And that was one of the things that I would recommend, even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes of just kind of going through the steps. Because for me, it's the backstage production stuff that's a challenge for me. So that would be my advice for you. And I know I'm quite behind. I am just trying to catch up. And this is Eddie talking about his leg, cellulitis, bacterial infection, deep layers of the skin, super painful, but no sores. I'm pretty sure that Rob, and he made this quite public or I wouldn't be discussing it, had a very severe cellulitis issue too. And it's actually quite easily obtained and quite common, but it is very serious. So anyone who gets this or thinks they have it, take it very seriously and do exactly what they tell you to do, because it can have pain and bad effects. So cellulitis is a very serious thing. Here's a different topic. Is Janet McDonald. Hey, glad to see you. Hey, fellow gardeners, anyone else having New Year's resolutions about anything? I have one card balance, several pounds, lots of clutter and habits, especially fear of what others think, to clear out in 26. So, I don't really do New Year's resolutions in a specialized, focused way, but more like what she was talking about there, about what things do I have that need to be, kind of moved out of my life, or things that I need to do more of. In terms of goal setting, if any of you are serious about goal setting, there's actually different videos and articles with advice that tell you what works in terms of goal setting, so that what's effective if you choose to do your New Year's resolutions. We'll see if anybody else has anything there. Generally speaking, I'm not, how do I put this? I'm an easygoing person. So I don't tend to have a regimented or organized pattern of how I do things. So New Year's resolutions is not part of the way I think about things. And here's another little talk. This is Rob's allotment talking about that. I had cellulitis a couple of years ago, never had pain like it. He was in the hospital for 11 days. Even from the hospital, periodically, I think just to distract him from the pain and what was going on in the hospital, Rob was periodically checking in with us. And then, if I remember right, even after the hospitalization, he went through a long period of recovery. And I'm pretty sure it was legs for him at that point. And I do remember you checking in with us and telling us about that from back then. And here is Eddie talking about 2 home nurse cares. 2 home health care nurses coming twice a week, no longer need them, and they like me, and insurance pays. Yeah. So I still think it's a good idea to have medical professionals keep an eye on the healing, because my understanding, again, not a medical professional, is you have to get that healing from the inside out. So there's that. And I'm just going to skip ahead. So if I miss anything, it's not that I, don't care about you or not read what you have. I just can't feature every bit of the comments, but I do appreciate that you guys are participating and being here today. And Craft Organics saying that they just subscribed to Bowtie's channel. Thank you for that. And here, is the Muddy Puddles Monday Live link. So for those of you who would like to support another person who's become a regular on our channel, I highly suggest that you check out that Monday Live. It's your first ever. It would be great to be supportive for someone that's new. Live shows is a bit of a challenge. And it's nice to have supportive people in the audience. So there is that link for anyone who wants that. And here is someone else supporting again. Craft Organics, subscribe to Muddy Puddles Farm. Great. And this is a talk about that cellulitis and how difficult a time it was, and talking about how difficult it can be, and some people being supportive in different way about that. And I did not have that specific. And this person is talking about, this is Rob saying allotments had antibiotics in one arm and painkillers in the other. I was very close to that condition myself a couple of years ago. I'm going to kind of leave that topic for now, but best of thoughts towards everyone who's having a tough time right now. Here's a different topic. John Jude saying, I've lately been seeing juncos and snowbirds. Oh, snowbirds, I think he means. The other snowbirds here in Ohio. Yeah, well, yes. And this is about Shawnee going to see that person who's going to midway through Florida, saying he was an hour from me speaking, and I didn't even go to that. Shawnee is not the most travel-focused person. Yeah. I don't like travel. But I do watch his YouTube channels for the filmed presentations. So this is that time for the Muddy Puddles Farm. So Pacific, 11 a.m. tomorrow for Muddy Puddles' first ever live stream. Central, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is my time, 2 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which is in the UK, is 7 p.m. And thank you for great advice. Well, if you would like back channel any other advice, I'm an amateur starting from zero on that stuff. So I can definitely relate. So my email address did show up in the chat, and I'm willing to share it again. And here's a comment about the New Year's resolutions. Dusty Flat, never do resolutions. I do goals and focuses for my energy, but not specific resolutions. And here is John Jude. I just make resolutions for my wife this year and maybe longer. I think he might mean life, but he could mean wife. I'm not entirely sure. And Jim, who is Rob's allotment, saying, you have a good memory. Well, the thing is, I also have multiple disabilities, and that sometimes causes health problems. And I'm very empathetic to the people who are regulars on our show. And of course, I remember you were, ill for so long. I couldn't believe that you actually came and joined us in all of your pain and stuff that was going on with you. And Feeding Fred, is this channel about growing? Generally, it usually is. What happens is, for approximately 48 or so weeks of the year, Enoch, who is the owner of this channel, focuses on gardening and primarily people who garden. So it's more of a talk show about the gardener and whatever interests they have, whatever focuses and things. However, right now, this is the off time. This is the vacation mode in which we don't have a formal show. As you can see when you look at the thumbnail, no show. So we could have absolutely no show, or we could have this casual presentation that I'm doing, in which I'm very open for people to discuss anything that's not going to get us in trouble with YouTube. I am completely open for people asking or offering advice regarding gardening topics. I actually did have some questions available, but since you guys are being so chatty, I haven't felt the need to bring my questions out. But yes, normally Feeding Fred, we are focused on gardening. We are all gardeners. This is just kind of, you might say, casual mode, in which we can focus on gardening, but we are open to chat about other things. So, Bowtie, still here listening. Fantastic. Food forest permaculture. We have a few trees planned to plant in 2026. Oh, somehow I missed him being here. And there he is. Hey, good. Glad to see you, Howie. Earthling Howie. I actually I mentioned briefly yesterday that I was a little bit behind on some of my tree care. I had one single producing tree. I live in a tiny home with a very tiny lot, and I have one 5-year-old Gravenstein apple tree that produced well for the first time this year, and I had armloads of apples and very thrilled about that. And I planted 2 other apple trees. Please don't quiz me on what, but 2 other apple trees and a peach tree. And now I need to better protect the trunks because the animals, the rodents, will chew on the bark in my area when the winter gets really tough. So that's one of the things I should be doing either later today or tomorrow, depending on storms. And here's Bowtie mentioning snowbirds will literally be flowing in here over the next few weeks, double or triple our population. Yes. I hesitate to mention some of this, but normally a fair number of our people do go south, but have made different decisions now. And I'm going to leave it at that. They've chosen differently now. Yeah. And here's Feeding Fred's, a question to Feeding Fred from Shawnee Grows. What's your gardening story? I'm in Minnesota, zone 5A, growing on land where I do not live. And I would love to grow 50 pounds of carrots. I have actually done so in the past. So that's happened. And Howie is saying my daffodils are 5 inches. What? Oh, Howie, I am jealous. Howie, by the way, is in one of the warmest parts of Canada, and he has ideal growing conditions compared to many other parts. Not quite as many challenges. And Shawnee's saying, still no snow there? Nope. Well, we're between multiple storms right now that cause us some issues. And here he is, Sonny, gardening every day. Yes, Howie, rub it in my face. We're between different storms right now here. So someone is mentioning here, Muddy Puddle Farm Food Forest Permaculture. Do you have a channel? Yes, he does. I unfortunately don't have the time and energy to try and give that link just at this moment, but he absolutely does. If you look up on YouTube, Food Forest Permaculture, and sometimes you have to put the word channel in to make sure that you're not getting other permaculture stuff. And he sometimes does some lives, but he is absolutely a channel. The other thing is you can type in his handle, and that will do that. Let's see. And here we go, an explanation, marine temper climate. Yes, because I'm near a very large Great Lake, we have a bit of that because the lake is not frozen yet. We get a little bit of that temperate things that come off the lake as well. And here is Eddie, I'm currently in talks with my extension office, getting ready to plant fruit trees. They've been so helpful. They sent article links and phone numbers for experts locally. Fantastic. Great. I'm on a little bit of a tight budget, and my energy levels are not the same as I've aged and become disabled, but it's one of my goals is to, where reasonable on my tiny lot, is have some fruit trees, because as I age, I do want to have some fruit for me, but also I want to kind of leave that for the people that will come after me, is to have cane fruit and fruit producing trees and stuff for the people that come after me, is one of my ways to kind of contribute to the community. And some of Canada is warmer than parts of the US. Yes, if you look at a map, it's kind of a funny little line, and it depends on what, what Howie was mentioned about the marine temperate because of the Pacific Ocean where he is, and the Great Lake effect here, but also, how do I explain? Canada does not follow just along the one parallel. We actually dip down quite low. In some parts, like Windsor is actually south of Detroit, meaning elements of the US are north of Canada in some parts. And he's mentioning #Path Soil Bank, and you can find me. And this is something that is one of my future plans. Definitely have to set up a coal frame. Thought winter arrived with the first snow and below zero, but the roller coaster temperatures have begun. Rain and snow doesn't do well in Wisconsin. I have a plan, a few different possible plans toward a cold frame. Budget hunting after the show, I'm actually going out and taking a look at Christmas lights, because I found some incandescent lights, and you're thinking, LED is way more efficient. Why would you want incandescent Christmas lights? Because incandescent Christmas lights is one of the ways that you can heat a cold frame relatively inexpensively. So I have an eye on some of those and may do that. And Hot Potato Gardener, good to see you again. Hey. And going to try sweet potatoes for the first time. Too expensive to buy, so we get an organic one at the store. Any suggestions? I'm not good at sweet potatoes. I've tried what you've suggested there about buying them at the store. I've gotten your regular typical ones, 2 different types that were a little more exotic, got them organic, washed them off just to make sure in case there was any residual anything on them. Did the things that was suggested. There's 2 different methods that I'm aware of. And one is that you suspend it in kind of like a jar or cup of water. And the other one is to make a damp seedling mix in a tray. And then you put the sweet potato laying down in that seedling mix, keeping it moist, but not too moist, because otherwise it will rot. And that produces the things. Now, that's the theories. I've done each of those things multiple times and had no good results. No matter what I've done, I've always had rotted potatoes. Can I improve on this? Absolutely. There's lessons to be learned, but those are the theories behind how it's done, but you're getting advice from someone who is not doing it successfully. So start with that as a baseline, if the theory versus someone who is not able to do it. So you may find better advice with some of the people here in the audience or possibly online, but that's the 2 ways that I'm aware of to try to do that. And John Jude, I have 5 apple trees, and I hope someone who loves and enjoys them here next. Yeah, me too. Some of the childlike delight that you saw with Bowtie David and his wife, that, sort of like childlike delight. I really like people who have that still, in their lives, despite all of what may have happened to them. And I have a fair bit of that. And when my apple tree, my Gravenstein, started first producing the end of August into September and a little bit into October, it was about 5 weeks, I think. I was so thrilled that when it got to full size and full production, that I took the t-shirt I was wearing, made a t-shirt apron really quick, threw a bunch of the apples in it, and started running around my neighborhood going, hey, here, have my apple, have one of my apples. And the thing is, we live in a tiny home village. Hardly anybody grows stuff on their actual lots. And people were a little puzzled, and I'm going, I grew this apple, and people were like puzzled because nobody here does that. And I was like, but I did, you know? And yes, I'd had Gravensteins in the past. They had grown a little bit, but this was the first really full production year. And I was thrilled. I just wanted to share it around so that a whole bunch of people would have a chance to experience it. And Gravensteins are a unique apple for anyone who wants to try and look them up. They are a heritage apple from the Nordic regions. I believe they're actually some kind of heritage apple from, I believe, I don't want to state what country, but one of those up there. It's considered to be quite a thing. And it's a very interesting apple that's got a little bit of bite back to it that's interesting. And yeah, so I am growing that. And it's, I'm going to mispronounce this. Please forgive me. It's a tripod. Essentially what that means is it requires 2 different pollinators in order to produce fruit. So what that means is it's not self-pollinating, and just having, and it requires pollination from 2 different apple trees. So here's my Gravenstein. It needs 2 different types of apple trees that are on a limited list of what it will, you know, be happy with. The pollinators that we all should have in our gardens have to get pollen from these different trees. And I believe it's about 6 or 7 different apple trees, but you must have 2 of them pollinating to get my Gravenstein to produce. And one of the trees that I planted in my yard is one of the ones. And then about 1 kilometer down the road is a crab apple. And I'm pretty sure that's the other one that produced to make it so that my Gravenstein would make lovely fruit. And I was excited like a child, running around showing people, hey, have an apple. And very, very childlike delight over what I could share. And don't think they have incandescent lights anymore. No, they are super hard to find in the stores. They are mostly all LED, but 2 stores had like a single pack, you know, kind of on clearance that's like that. And also sometimes the thrift stores will have incandescent lights as well. But yes, they are terribly energy efficient, not energy efficient. And that's one of the reasons why, you know, mostly different places have switched over to LEDs. However, I need excessive warmth in order to keep the cold frame warm. And the most safe way to do that is to use either earth cables that are made for that purpose. And there are ones that you can buy, but they're a little bit pricey and hard to find. And then also within the cold frame, you can use exterior, must be outdoors, bulbs, and you use incandescent to go around. And the heat they produce, which is a lot more than an LED, is what you use to keep your cold frame warm. This is theory. I have not done this yet. This is the research I've done and plans that I have to try and be able to grow greens. And this is someone talking about sweet potatoes. I would do the potato in water for slips. Sorry, frog in my throat. So I've heard both ways. People loving each. So I would recommend trying each if you can get spare potatoes. And I've seen a comment from New Zealand that said to plant the slips horizontally, anything to that. Not that I'm aware of. Again, not an expert. I actually went out and purchased potato slips and had essentially no success with that either. So I'm not a successful sweet potato grower in my area because of the amount in growing days and what we've got in the framework of the space that we've got for growing. The soil must be warm enough. and we just barely get enough days that sweet potatoes can be growing between our first frost and our last frost and our first frost. And so it is possible to grow here, but it is challenging. But hey, a lot of gardeners like a challenge. And Rob saying, I tried growing sweet potatoes 3 times and nothing. Yep, I'm at about the same. I'm at 3-0 in terms of success. And back to supporting each other. Muddy Puddles Farm, I found you and subscribed. I look forward to exploring your back catalog. And here is Howie. Making soil every day will get you in touch with nature. Soil is made in layers: green, brown, biomass, wood, ash, and biochar is your best. Cardboard, the lawn, and something like put leaves, but also leaves. Yes, I agree. In fact, frequently in the live streams, I put in comments like, become a soil farmer. There are so many things available to us. In my little village, we have people that put their garden waste and yard waste out to the curb, you might say, out to the edge of the road, and it is taken away by the maintenance people once a week. And the thing is, the vast majority of all that stuff is completely excellent for mulch, for hugelkultur, for composting. There just is so much leaf mold. It's like literally garden gold and tons of it. So I'm the weirdo in the community running around grabbing other people's garden waste and doing that. And I also save plants, like people take out different perennials and different shrubs. And I'm kind of known for saving those things. So often 4 or 5 times a year, people will say, I kind of want to expand my garden, but the budget's a little tight. I say, I will see what I can find for you. And so I do sort of a matchmaking service between people who have plants they want to get rid of and people who want to expand their garden and connect them up to save those plants. So daylilies, irises, just all kinds of different plants. And not everything's successful. It depends how well it was taken out and the care that it gets afterwards. But for free, for your effort, fantastic. And, you know, gardener, love plants, want more people doing it, more people happy. And here is Rob asking Muddy Puddles Farm, Joe, how are the piggies doing? And Howie offering us some advice, 1 foot deep. Eventually, yes, that's where we want to get to. And talking about nodes and how roots form and how it forms in time and how it'll produce. David the Goods takes cuttings and plants them after they're growing. So that's another bit of advice. And Dusty Flat saying, I see many don't have luck with sweet potatoes in the UK, maybe not hot enough, and they like sandy soils and not too rich. Yes, like I say, there's a certain amount of growing days, but it's also temperature of the soil. And for us, it takes till mid-June, usually, for our soils to be warm enough, and then we don't have that many days up till frost for the plants to produce. So it's a challenge. So thanks, Howie, for being here. Glad to see you were here and giving us some advice and moving along with your day. I have a pussy willow, and they are drawing tons of bees before and during the apple blossom time. Ah, okay. And yeah, I think you were right about not hot and sunny enough. Well, research it yourself. There may be ways that you can make the soil hotter. One of the things that I'm aware of, and I've tried once or twice myself, is putting black plastic over top of the soil to like warm it up quicker before putting stuff in, but it's a challenge. And also raised beds usually dry sooner for the nice draining that they prefer, that sweet potatoes prefer, and also the soil tends to warm up a little sooner in a raised bed. So here's a question. And the question is, when to start sweet potato slips for my 5A Wisconsin? 10 to 12 weeks before transplanting. Good question. I would have to research it. I know I started trying something like 14 weeks ahead because I had such trouble getting them to grow, and I have never been successful. So I'm not, my personal experience is not necessarily great advice. So if anybody else has got advice that actually works rather than someone like me who hasn't been successful in growing sweet potatoes, I would love for them to speak up. Normally I would do some research for you, but I'm busy hosting. Put sweet potatoes in the best drainage area of the garden. Yes, that's why I mentioned possibly raised beds if you've got a raised bed. And here's some advice. Eddie Lyles have had great luck starting slips in soil as well as water. So he recommends both. And here's more advice. I've tried growing sweet potatoes and they're going to have another loofah expanse. Ah, I think he means they might take over, I guess. I think that's what he means. This is about the pigs. They're doing well. Thank you. Kevin is becoming better at breaking out of his pen. He causes havoc when he's loose. In my area, someone we knew from another hobby had pigs and actually wound up having to stop doing them because as they became really large and really powerful and breaking out, that it became too much of a danger on the farm and they actually had to stop having them, unfortunately. I have sandy soil for the spuds and just don't want to buy the slips at $50 for 12 to 25 slips. Yeah, they were charging like $3 a slip or something. I was thinking if I ever got good at it, I should be going into the, you know, how some people sell seedlings as kind of a side business. Slips, you know, if you can get successful at growing them, there's people who are, you know, are wanting them and you could have a little side business. And the thing is, you only have to do it for, you know, successfully for probably at most about a month in your region of where you are of having them and letting it be known. What they did in this area was they supplied them to a local organic store, and then they supplied them, but then they sold them out of there to them, meaning a person learned how to grow them successfully and supplied the organic store. And they utilized them for their own personal greenhouse and then had them for customers. Sorry, I wasn't wording that very well. I realized my words were getting tangled there. And many mound up soil in the row and cover with black plastic for sweet potatoes. Yes. And here we're talking about I would need rooted slips. Too hot and dry here to direct plant slips. Yeah, you have to have them rooted and relatively strong before you put them in, but very, very important is that the conditions for them have to be right in terms of temperature, length of the season, air temperature, soil temperature, drainage, all that kind of thing. They're a little bit fussy. So and here Shawnee saying, my planting schedule for potato slips in zones 5A is to start them March 1st and then transplant them outdoors June 1st. Okay, good. I'm not giving up on them. It's just how much time and energy I want to spend. But eventually, like some people mention, you create a journal or a notes or whatever, and you learn from your mistakes, and then you get a formula and figure out what mostly works. So, and here back to sweet potatoes. I have sweet potatoes in soil to get slips. I will buy slips if they don't work. This is the first time I had space to grow sweet potatoes, a complete adventure for me. Yeah, as a gardener, I actually like having new experiences and learning from my mistakes, learning from other people. And I so thank everybody else here for sharing advice with each other, supporting each other with advice. I'm just going to throw up one more time this StreamYard link in case anybody wants to join before I close out today, just to give one more opportunity for you to pop up and join me. And by the way, it's posted up now as the Urban Gardener because I put it on my StreamYard side instead of on the YouTube side. So Enoch is not here. I'm just backstage and have that control. And here's someone saying, I have the heat mat set to 20 degrees. Does anyone know if that's warm enough? I also did mine on a heat mat on advice, and my heat mats are not heat adjustable. So I just went with what they did. Like, they are seed starting heat mats that you normally use for tomatoes and peppers, and just hoped that that was enough. And that could be one of the things that was an issue. And my grandfather sold sweet tater slips. Yep, it's another way to make money. And he's always started them in sawdust. And he had a sawmill. Ooh, there's a sawmill just up the road. Yes, I should look up if it's specific types of sawdust or not. But I'm pretty sure they would not have a problem with me taking a bucket of sawdust. I think sweet potatoes for first, and celeriac and success with spices like fennel seeds and cumin, sorry. And I've not tried or success on some. Yeah. And here's a translation. 20 degrees Celsius is about 70 Fahrenheit. That's a pretty good temperature. Yeah, so thanks, Dave, for being our Mr. What do you call it? Mr. Botron. Yes, when you're helping us out here in the chat. And here's some advice about the sawdust. When it comes to using sawdust for your plants, it really doesn't matter what kind of wood, as the harmful chemicals are generally gone after a single rain or two. What I tend to do is we get a number of trees down, and sometimes people are unhappy about having the stump grindings or the sawdust left over. And so I sometimes, just to help people out with their place, is I gather it up and use it in my garden in different ways. And it depends what I'm up to and what I'm building. But like hugelkultur mounds to build up my stuff, I use them in the pathways to, keep down weeds, a whole range of different things. So, yeah. And here's some advice here. Dusty Flats. I've seen Viking Gardener video, and he said 80 Fahrenheit to set the jar of water on for all slips. So that's for the potato slips. So there's some advice there. So what they're referring to there is there's another channel on YouTube that frequently is, I believe he's at noon on Saturday for his live stream portion, is Garden Like a Viking. And his name is Nate Murray. And he's actually been a guest here on the channel with Enoch in the past. And that's what that's the channel that you'll want to look for. Unfortunately, I can't provide the link right now, but there's that. So we're getting towards the end. I've thrown out a link. If anyone wants to try and still join us, I've got a few minutes left in the show. Currently, what's happening is, for anybody who's come late, is Enoch is away. He's on vacation. So normally there is no show, zero show. And we started having it so that the chat area is open so that people can chat. And I would try to commit to be there to help, be part of the conversation in the chat area. But as an option, I'm doing casual shows to just kind of discuss with all of you kind of what's going on, what the things that you guys are reflecting, to try and have something happening, but it's not a formal show. So these shows could well end up disappearing after a few weeks, but it's a way of basically having a live, but much less formal than the usual thing. I do have the possibility of having a little more structured and having topics available, and I had some stuff ready. Some of the stuff I've started preparing is regarding questions about gardening in the winter, indoor gardening, and things like that, just to kind of provoke topics. And next weekend I can start doing that if some of you would like that, or we can keep it quite informal like this. But I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of on vacation mode, so I am keeping it fairly informal. So here's Enoch. Here is Eddie giving some advice. Enjoyed the live and the interesting conversations. Yes, Enoch says it, and I just want to repeat that. It is you and the audience that makes this show. Like, we are here for you guys as individuals, but also for building community. And I just want to say, like, so many of you are providing answers for each other, and I so appreciate that, because some of the things like about sweet potatoes, I have very limited, successful experience. Do you think the length of the root zone on the slips depends on how many potatoes are produced? That is my understanding. Again, not successful at growing them. A few of you here are and can answer that more fully, but it is my understanding that, yes, essentially it's a vine, both underground with the nodes producing potatoes off them, the sweet potatoes, and then above ground. And just as another side point, because I mentioned this briefly yesterday, is what can you eat in your garden more than you would normally think? The sweet potatoes, many varieties that I'm aware of, do check before you eat them, but you can eat the leaves on most sweet potatoes, is my understanding. Please do not eat them until you do your own research, but it is my understanding that, yes, you can eat them. So, and Shawnee, yeah, that was one of the things that I had in my potential topics for today. Is anyone flipping through seed catalogs yet? I'm not yet, but I'm looking at trying to organize the seed packets that I already have, and figuring out what I currently have and organizing those a little more successfully for growing for next year. And I do it all year round, checking out the seed catalogs, I guess. And I've taken slips and cut them at the nodes before planting to make more slips. So there's a tip from Eddie. Yes. And wow, my comment on what veg I haven't tried or were successful growing did not make sense. Well, only 5 minutes ago, I started doing a bit of circular talking that I realized did not make a lot of sense. So, yeah. I haven't even ordered any seed catalogs. I tend to buy a lot of my seeds locally, and based on some of the things I've learned from some of you guys the last couple of years, I'm also producing my own seed in my garden, and I've got a lot of that to work with. So I'm actually almost at a situation where I almost have too much seed. So yeah. But some of it's getting a little bit older, so I may have to do some germination testing just to see how it is. And the catalogs are piling up, and the Barcalounger won't recline. And Shawnee is saying, I'm not yet. And Eddie saying, yes, seed catalogs, got my order ready. Yeah. So, and that's one of the things that I had as, I kind of prepared some, I guess you say, talking points, very rough topic points regarding winter gardening. And one of them was about seeds and seed catalogs and preparation, and things about indoor gardening and things like that. But I kind of like it informal here, where we're reflecting more on what you guys are discussing than preconceived topics that I might have come up with. My seeds are mostly ordered for this year. Sometimes the best varieties sell out, and then you're scrambling to find out what you want. Yeah, I actually have a couple. I've been gifted a couple of vouchers or whatever, coupons for seed companies that I need to kind of pull out and figure out the few seeds that I think I should order and make those arrangements. And here is Dusty Flats. I have a ton of seed, but we'll still need fresh onions, corn, and a few flowers. Yes, and see, that's the thing for me, is I actually have an excess amount of seed, and as you know, they have a limited shelf life, even if you store them as correctly as you can. And yeah, so I need to use up what I've got. And here's Shawnee saying, I wanted to cold frame grow, but we haven't had sun in 12 days. Cold frame would work for me more towards March. Yeah. That's the other thing here, is the amount of snow and stuff we get, the amount of cloud, because I'm in a lake district and I'm near ponds and stuff. In the winter, very limited sun. But I still want to. Do you know what I mean? How, as gardener, each time someone comes up with a new concept, you think, hey, I'd love to try that. I'd love to try that. You know, you get so excited by what everybody else is doing. I need a few more recipes to collect for veggies that I grow. Yes. One of the things that Shawnee mentioned, and I believe this was a few weeks ago, we were talking about the different things that people could do to contribute to the show in various ways. And one is that people who are successful preservers or successful cooks, maybe there's a way that you could be doing presentations for our show on those topics. That wouldn't be me. I am very marginal at those things. I just don't give it a lot of energy, but people who are very good at it, that would be a really interesting thing to see. And she's saying, she being Shawnee is saying, I want to get recipes first and build a grow list. Yeah, so that you're effectively using things, getting things full circle. And here is Dusty Flat saying, I put a grow light in the cold frame. Yeah. And that's why I was talking about those incandescent Christmas lights. They produce enough heat that helps them so that they can still maintain their temperatures, or potentially maintain their temperatures inside the cold frame. And so it's an inexpensive way to deal with that. I need onion, carrots, and the one that don't store well. Not sure. And looking for a cook video. Video your cooking of the garden, and we will add it to the shows. I can't guarantee that because I do not own this channel. Enoch is away on vacation. I can get away with a certain amount when he's not here, but I can't book someone permanently for shows. But it would be a very interesting set of new segments to have someone doing a cooking presentation. And maybe if you don't have a lot of time and energy, even if you could just do it, say 10 or 12 times a year, that would still be a nice thing for all of us. So those of you that are good at cooking, preserving, pickling, canning, all that kind of thing, there's an opening for you that would really help our show. And Dusty, at this point, I'll just use the grow light in my house. Yeah. The thing is it wired to be able to be outdoors? So yeah, then we're back to what you have been doing, and you showed us earlier about growing indoors. Yeah. And I'll be cooking the world's best ribeye tonight. And disclosure, I might add to a show. Yeah, for yourself. Yeah. And here's a discussion. Parsnips, they need fresh seed. Here's a slight interesting topic. I'm just going to cover this before we, close up the show. Yes, for Christmas, I went out and harvested a whole bunch of vegetables out of my garden. These vegetables in Canada have been under snow, under frost for weeks and months, and had no protection of any kind, were just out there. And I managed to collect, I'm going to say this kind of a little proud, a bunch of cabbage. I managed to get a bunch of carrots. I got Brussels sprouts, including the greens off the top of the Brussels sprouts to use for various things. I got, what else did I get? A couple of types of kale and Swiss chard out of my garden. And one of the carrots that I planted, the seed I'd forgotten, was the rainbow type. So when I harvested, because I'd forgotten, being a slightly disorganized gardener, when I harvested those carrots out on Christmas Day under snow here in Canada, some of the carrots I pulled out were the rainbow colored ones, meaning white and yellow, as well as what we think of as a traditional orange. And that was a little surprise. So the parsnips reminded me, parsnips don't tend to grow all that well here. It requires a much longer season than we typically have. It's possible, but difficult. And when I pulled out the white carrot, I went, parsnips? Did I really plant those here? And then clued in that it was multicolored carrots, not parsnips. So that was me in my disorganization. So short on sunlight in the north, gloomy days, yes. And we're in a lake district, so it's an issue. Yeah. And Hugh makes a hotbed, 1 square meter with fresh manure and a mini hoop house over top to keep the warmth in. Yes, so that's another possibility. If using manure in your garden is both a strength and a weakness, and it's good to know your source of where your manure comes from or problems that can be associated with it. But yes, we brought manure into our gardens, and it brought in a seriously pestilent plant that became a very bad danger in our garden. And that was what happened because we got even aged manure from a nearby agricultural source. So not saying that will necessarily happen to you, but there can be issues and problems. And if people want to know the name of it, I can look it up again, what it was, but it was a problem. And yes, Hugh, so this is Shawnee responding back saying, he explains how to build a hotbed in his book, The Self-Sufficiency Garden, and in videos on his channel, pretty good. So, and she's saying, I can't trust any manure around here. Yeah, same in our area. I'm surrounded by farms, but most of them do traditional agriculture, meaning the stuff that's based on herbicides like Grazon and stuff like that. And yeah, so it's tricky about what you got. It's all around, but yet difficult to use. And muddy puddles, yeah, we'll just leave that one there. I won't say it, but yeah, you can go from that. And I think I'll use a free calendar and mark on it for days to sow, better succession planting for lettuce, radishes. Seems that we get too busy, and for fertilizer application. Well, I'm just going to give you guys a little teaser before I go, is that I'm hoping, I'm involved in a project that I can't discuss that's about how I can get better organized at gardening. And it's better than the back of an envelope. And when I'm free to discuss it with all of you, I will. But there's potential for me to become a much better gardener. And I am super happy to have that happening. But at this stage, I'm not able to discuss it further. But there's a potential for me becoming better organized and getting some help in gardening. And I am pleased about that. And here's Shawnee saying, use the free calendars of the banks and the hardware. I go the 1st and 15th of the month. And with the pigs, chickens, and sheep, not me personally. Yes, because you know the source of what you feed your animals and what's coming out of them and how fantastic that is for you. Well, we're running out of time. I gave my email address and I'm going to give it one more time. If any of you have any feedback about how I'm running the show, the choices that I'm making in the off times while Enoch is gone, whether you like it being informal like this or whether you want me to spend some effort to try to make the show a little more like a traditional show, I can try to make that effort. But here is my email. It's under the Urban Gardener because of where I am. Enoch is not here. That's just me using his account at the moment. But ecologytoday@gmail.com is my email address. So in the comments to the show or in comments to me personally, if you want to be a little more private, let me know. The possibilities are for the next 2 weeks. So next weekend and the weekend after, still no show scheduled. I can have it as text-based only. I can have it casual format, like what you're seeing today and what you experienced yesterday. Or I can try to summon it up and get prepared and do a more formal show. I'm open to the feedback because as far as I'm concerned, this show is your show. And if any of you give me feedback on what you more prefer, I will give that consideration and flex with that. So, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm just going to get one more comment here about the things that we were discussing. Dusty Flats, I'm growing caution to the wind on manure. Got it for family member farm. Won't buy bagged anymore. It wasn't good. Yeah, I've run into that too. And here's talking about Eddie Lyles to Muddy Puddles about I love some sheep. I bought goats last time they were headed south. Yeah. We've had mixed results about manure because of essentially Grazon, but also, and I can't remember the name right now, but we had a very, very serious infestation of a super seriously bad plant. And I can try to look it up and provide more information next week, but it was a really bad problem this year in our community garden, and that was from donated manure. There can be problems. And there's been other people I'm aware of who are professional gardeners who lost their whole crops with manure, mainly because of Grazon, so which is a persistent herbicide. So thanks to all of you for being here. Thanks to Rob saying here, another great live with Jay. Very happy New Year to all of you and see you next year. This has been great. Thank you, Muddy Puddles. I appreciate that. A reminder, Muddy Puddles has provided a link. Okay. You can go back and see that when the live comments become available later. Having her very first live, please show up and be supportive on Monday. And the various times were left out for us. Here's different discussions about different types of lights. Okay. And this is a little discussion. The sheep escaped and behave as badly as any goats I've got. I have some empathy for them wanting to get out and kick up their heels a little bit, but yeah, trouble for you. So our time is up today. Thank you so much. I am again, Jay Dixon, the J-Bot, trying to provide a bit of a format while Enoch is having a little bit of off time. This show is for you. The options are text only, casual format like I'm doing now, or a more formal show. And if I hear from any of you in the comments for this show or in an email to me, I'll reflect on that and decide what's going to happen for next weekend. But we always guarantee in these off times that you will have in the chat area that will always be open to you next Saturday, next Sunday, the following Saturday, and the following Sunday, and then we're coming back to the full show. And just a reminder that David is having his birthday tomorrow. So any wishes towards his channel, Bowtie Life in the Garden, would be appreciated. And the other thing is that we will be starting back up in a few weeks, and there will be also new Monday night shows. So thanks so much for everybody that's been here today, your patience with me as I've had a very relaxed format show. And like I say, I'm open to hear from some of you what you would prefer for the future, whether you want text only, casual format, or a more formal show. And hope to see you again. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Power out.